So good evening, we are back for episode 3 of the SHAYCAST, and I'm joined in the studio by TS Media.
Good evening. Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. And we're also joined by your first ever SHAYCAST, Jack Douglas. How are you doing?
Yeah, my debut tonight. Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. You?
Yeah, good. So you're part of the media team.
Yeah.
How did you kind of start off getting involved with FC Halifax Town?
I had my first ever uni assignment, so I'm in final year at Huddersfield now doing sports journalism. My first ever assignment, we had to go into the press box at a game and do like a little 90-second radio report of it. Oh. So I went to Halifax versus Wrexham, which was a delightful 0-0
right.
on a very cold October night. And from there, kept in contact with Kelly, and then as of last season and this season, just been helping out when I can, really.
Yeah. Was it a Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had... No, it was... We were talking about a couple of weeks ago these cold Tuesday nights, producing 0-0s and not very good results.
It's got to be one of the coldest grounds in the country on a Tuesday, honestly.
How come you chose Halifax then? Just because it's kind of close, it's more local, or?
Well, yeah, in a way, but at the time they were doing all right in the league. I think it was the first season back in the conference. Billy Heath was still manager, and they were doing well. So I thought, kind of, it'd be nice to find a team and report on a team that's actually doing well. Well, that was the hope anyway.
We're doing all right this season, I think.
Yeah. But that was before that game, and then so I were expecting a lot of goals. Sadly, didn't come, but but yeah, from there it's been a lot of fun, really.
So on a match day, then where are you usually found? Are you found behind the radio? Are you found doing articles? Are you found on social media?
I've done a bit of everything, really. I've had a few articles, match reports, done a bit of non-league paper.
Oh yeah.
But recently I've been doing social media. So when on Twitter, if you see sort of as the players walk out, they're being filmed walking out, or they're being filmed warming up, that's usually me. I've been running the Instagram on a match day for the last few games. So it's at FCHT Online, nice little plug.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that.
So did a lot of Instagram stories the other week, I think, for the Boreham Wood game, which are quite fun, having a bit of creative license to do what I want on Instagram, which we've received a lot of good feedback so far. So yeah, it's been quite enjoyable doing that sort of aspect of things.
So from a social media perspective, is that your favourite then, Instagram? Because they're all quite different, aren't they? I mean, I quite like Instagram myself.
Well, Instagram, it's not, because everyone immediately for the news wants to go to Twitter, because that's like, so Instagram gives you a bit more time to look and think a bit more like objectively, whereas Twitter, it's like something's happened, oh god, I'm typing away.
Yeah, it's a bit more creative, isn't it, Instagram? I think. I know that I like Instagram quite a lot. I like to do my silly little videos of which you two have seen. But yeah, like you say, Twitter it's your go-to. It's very informative. It's where you go for your minute-by-minute action, obviously, that we try and keep up with.
I enjoy doing both, but
yeah,
I think it's nice to keep my options open at the minute.
Absolutely.
But I'd say Instagram has been more enjoyable recently, because you can, especially in the warm-ups when you're just out filming and record
with the players.
Yeah, exactly. When you're always on the pitch, you feel like you've got a bit of power and authority when you're on the pitch.
When you've got that high vis.
When you've got a nice little CHT high vis on, it's lovely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well said. But we'll go back to the club. There's quite a few things going on at the moment in terms of the youth team, and as well we've got a lot of events in the coming months. So we'll start off. Tom, you've had a look at the youth team. What's gone on in the youth team?
Yeah, the under-19s advanced into the next round of the League Cup yesterday morning. A fantastic 4-0 win down at Leeds Road Sports Complex over Marine. So from what I've heard and read, Marine had the chance to go 1-0 up, but missed a penalty, then went down to 10 men, and we punished them, stuck 4 past them and into the hat for the next round. And on that, being in the hat for the next round, next Wednesday the boys travel in the FA Youth Cup. So they head to Fleetwood Town for a 7 p.m. kick-off. So next Wednesday, if you're not doing anything, you fancy going watching our young boys, then get yourself over to Fleetwood Town. It should be a good match.
Should be. I heard that it's first round proper as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
FA Youth Cups. That'd be quite interesting. See if they can get a cup run going on. We'll talk about the senior team later, but the youth team seem to be doing quite well in the cups.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them have a little run. Last season, we entertained Sunderland down at the Shay, and that was a great match. They only managed to beat us 1-0. But our lads did really well, and it's a great experience for them playing against these full-time academies. So, I really want the lads to do well, and like I say, if you can get over and support them, I'm sure they would really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely, and the videos are still on Twitter. I think Kelly went down and did some footage of that, so that was brilliant. And also we got quite a few updates from Halifax Town as well in terms of behind the scenes. I believe, Jack, you've got a few updates to talk about.
So we've got a trio of fun-looking events coming up. It's the end of November. We've got the return of the Pete's Proper Pub Quiz, the Potting Shed on Fountain Street. Free entry and gifts, complimentary nibbles. Everyone loves something free, so free food, you can't go wrong. And our new sponsor, Infogol's, kindly donated a special prize to give away, and there's some shirts going as well. So that's on the 20th of November.
Yeah.
So that's sure to be a good night. And then just over a fortnight later, we've got the Christmas lunch down at the Shay.
Yeah.
So with this, we've gone for a bit more of a charity theme. So if you're an employee, you volunteer for, or you're supported by any Calderdale charity, we'd love to see you there, basically.
Mm-hmm.
For a nice Christmas dinner. Starts at noon on the 5th of December. So yeah, that'll be a nice sort of festive start to the month.
Yep.
And then going into the new year, on the 18th of January, there's a big 40 celebration. So it's 40 years ago since Halifax Town AFC beat Manchester City in the third round of the FA Cup. So this was before the oil money in Man City, but still a good side nonetheless. Still a very good side. So yeah, if you get down there, you'll be meeting the players from that winning team.
Oh, wow.
And you'll be able to ask your heroes any questions in the Q&A session. So yeah, 3 cool events coming up.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, we have Johnny Meynell coming in later, so I'm sure he'll be able to shed a bit of light on that game. I mean, I wasn't there, so but I want to know a bit more about it. No, brilliant. Sounds very interesting. But talking about football, our last game, we unfortunately were defeated against Harrogate Town, Yorkshire rivals, or Yorkshire Derby, should I say. So let's have a look at the quick highlights and let's have a discussion on that.
And we're underway here in the FA Cup, 4th qualifier round. Harrogate play it back to the defender and they go long down the left. And Charlie Cooper's won up there, strong challenge already on. As Harrogate just spread it over to the right hand side, and it's going to be Kiernan trying to career forward with it. Got Ben and Williams trying to stop him in his tracks. Still Brendan Kiernan gets the cross in. Oh, Liam Nolan, that's a bad defensive header. Harrogate score. Just gave the winger too much space there.
Headed it back to his own goal. He just tried to get anything on it to stop the cross, but yeah, it's gone through him. But I think after, before the game, with us playing the diamond in midfield, you've got to try and stop the switch because we're exposed out wide. We've just been a yard or 2 away from them, and we need to be tighter at times.
Yeah, back underway for the second half, and Liam McAlin has it for Town. Drives into the box, plays it off behind, shows over Niall Moore, goal for Town! Get in! Straight away, second half, Town are back into it, Niall Moore! Straight away, earns space. On the floor across the box. Toby decided to leave it, and Niall was rushing onto it. Hit it on from about 12 yards. The ball got left of it on the man as well. Strong challenge from Storks as a throw-in goes as far as Kiernan. And now into Muldoon, in space in the box. It's back across goal. Mark Beck said, why are we giving them time and space in the box? Harrogate score. Mark Beck is exactly. He's able to turn. He's got his back to goal in box, and there's no one around him. He can turn at his own pace. And he finds Mark Beck, who's rushing across. Josh Thornton just can't this forward. Go on, Josh. running forward. It's still Josh Thorpe. Still Josh Thorpe. Silver edge of the box. And it just wasn't there for Jeff King, and that's that. That's that. Final score here. Halifax Town 1, Harrogate Town 2 in the FA Cup. Town don't make it any further than the first hurdle, unfortunately.
So that was a 2-1 loss at the first hurdle in the Emirates FA Cup. I didn't go, unfortunately. Jack, you wasn't there either. So Tom, you were the only one there to watch the game. But obviously now Mar scored his first goal. But what was the game like?
We looked decent. Do you know what? We can't handle Mark Beck. 3 in 2 for him against us this season so far. His first was quite a gift. A fantastic save, I must say. What a save from Sam Johnson from a Liam Nolan header.
His quality.
What a keeper. But yeah, there was a cross whipped in. Nolan got his head to it. Sam had to tip it onto the bar. Unfortunately, it fell to Beck, who was just on hand to smash it home. And he was there again for the second. Again, a lovely ball in from the same side, from the right hand side, and he just got the touch that was needed to take it into the net. But like you say, yeah, Niall Maher got himself on the score sheet. Do you know what? Again, from the right hand side, ball whipped across, and he took his goal very well. But yeah, it was disappointing to head out of the cup. But we don't want to dwell on that. We want to look forward. We've got a big trip Saturday
to Bromley, yeah.
Down to Bromley, yeah. So I don't want to dwell on last Saturday. There's no need. Fair
enough. No, but that kind of begs the question then. People talk about Premier League versus Champions League. Which one would you win? So let's have a non-league version. Would you prefer to win the FA Cup, or would you prefer and finish 20th in the league, or would you prefer to get promoted, get the job done, but fall at the first hurdle in the FA Cup? Who wants to answer that one?
I'll go. Well,
yeah.
Personally, some of my best memories from being a football fan have come in the FA Cup. Mm-hmm. So for me, winning the FA Cup, surely, just imagine that no one from the non-leagues won the FA Cup in over 100 years.
Yeah.
Is that a stat? We could have a stat there.
The furthest a non-league club got to was a quarter-final. We're at Lincoln the other year. I might just be
They
making
did get
it up.
quite far, didn't they?
I think they got to the quarter-final and got beat by Arsenal.
Yes, they did, yeah.
So just imagine you stay down in the 5th tier, but you've won the FA Cup the season after. 1 week you'll be playing the likes of Bromley and Boreham Wood, and the next week you'll be welcoming sides like Bayer Leverkusen or Atletico Madrid if you're in Europe. So
that'd be amazing. But you want to get promoted to the League 2 though, and you wouldn't have an entire season in the Sky Bet League 2. So Tom, what do you think?
That's where I would want. Yes, like what a season it would be with the Europa League. But as a club structure, it could be very damaging in the fact that you get a good year, but if it ruins your following season again, because you've had the good cup run to get you into the Europa League, for example, and then you've got the Europa League. That's 2 very insane seasons, really, isn't it? And I think the fans of Halifax, we deserve to see league football again. We need to be back up there, and I think this year sliding out of the FA Cup puts us in a good position for that. We've started well. We've had a bit of a dip in form recently, but we're still there. We're still top of the table,
there, yeah.
And even the gaffer said the best is yet to come. These lads aren't hitting 5th gear. When we're only in October, just approaching November. There's still a lot of football to be played, and I believe in Pete Wilde. I think he's come in and he's done fantastic, and I think this year could be a very good year for us.
And Jack, do you echo that then? Do you reckon it could be a very good year for Halifax?
Yeah, definitely. So the games I've been to so far, Halifax have been very good. but I still think there's a level above that they can get to, because sometimes it's that final ball, or it's that, and that'll come as the players play more regularly together, as they gel more, and players start to know that like the likes of the winger's going to run off, or the striker's going to come in deep, and I think that sort of fluidity and like just chemistry will come, and like the play itself has been brilliant, but once the side gels even more so, I think that that'll reap the rewards, and then they'll get to that next level that they've been sort of flirting with, so to speak, so far.
Yeah.
Well, we still have 2 trophies as well next week. I mean, we don't know the official date yet, but for the West County, the West Riding County Cup, and then, but obviously, more importantly, the FA Trophy as well. There's still potential for us to win that as well. So there's still opportunities, even though it was a first hurdle in the FA Cup. So in conclusion, then, so you, Jack, you would definitely go for the FA Cup.
Yes.
And then Tom, you are totally different.
I
on the
want
other
us
side.
up. You know, like the FA Cup's fantastic. I always feel the magic of the third round. My birthday's on the 6th of January, so every third round is always round my birthday. My first experience of the FA Cup, my dad took me to Liverpool Rochdale. It was a 7-0 thumping.
Against Rochdale? Was it Fulham, wasn't it? That you
No, so I was a Liverpool fan back then. I was dragged up, like I was mentioning before. But yeah, like I went there and I saw 7 goals on my first live football game. The magic of the FA Cup, in regards to what a result. So, but yeah, I definitely think that we need to get Halifax up. We need it, and with the support that has been turning up in its droves, it's gone above that 2,000 mark. We're approaching 2,500.
Yeah,
and I think like the players, you can see how much it means to them, and I definitely think we need to get up, get to that next level.
Brilliant. Well, Johnny Meynell's now outside, so we'll get him in. And ask for his opinions as well. Obviously, a bit more about the club. I think he knows a bit more history about the club, so that'd be quite interesting. He also wrote a book as well. So again, we'll get him in as quick as we can. Cool.
Jamie Vardy, Lee Gregory, Freddie Pentland, Paul Hendry, Jamie Patterson, Eric Harrison, Paul Stumman, Billy Barnick, Richardson, Jack Haymar and Johnny Meynell, all sport at the Saddle Hotel, and we're all on our way. Bid our farewell to our beloved ship. We're heading down to London town, filled with hope and tears of pride, to make our mark beneath the arch, with glory shone around upon FC Halifax Town.
Brilliant. So we are back, and we are joined by the official club historian, Johnny Meynell. How are we doing? You okay?
I'm okay, thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to be. So you've travelled from Halifax.
Miles. I've travelled miles.
Miles just for the SHAYCAST.
Yeah.
That's how we like.
Things to be here tonight. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you've supported the club for how long, dare I ask?
Well, I'd say 79. I started coming down on my own.
Wow.
My dad took me down when I was about 8, 72. I first saw my game down the Shay, and I suppose that's where it gets into your blood. I suppose that little seed was sown, and so I always took an interest. And the teams that I followed as a kid was like Leeds United and then Leicester. Oh wow! Bizarrely, I won't go into all that. But then, and everybody always kept an eye on Halifax Town because they're always bottom of the league, and everybody felt sorry for them. And then eventually I said, I'm going to go to the next game, and I did, and I loved it, and that was it.
Where was that love come from then? What was it kind of?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can ask any Halifax Town supporter. There's just something there. But I just loved it. I lived in Todmorden, and everybody was a Burnley fan in my class at school, and Halifax Town were just ridiculed. Bottom of the league, and they got no money.
All right.
Always getting beat. The most famous phrase in football was Halifax Town nil. That kind of stuff. And but anyway, the 78-79 season, and they got into they won the second game of the season, and they didn't win again until end of February. Yeah.
Wow.
And they had the bad winter, and they didn't play for 3 months, And then all of a sudden they got this 1-0 win at Port Vale. They won at Port Vale, an own goal, but they all count.
Yeah, that's true.
And I sort of vowed that I would go to the next home game, and I told everybody at school I would go to the next home game. And it was against Portsmouth on the 3rd of March, 79. And I had to honour it. And I got the bus down, and I got a little wooden stand.
Yeah.
Where the East Stand is now is a little wooden stand where the changing rooms were, the dressing rooms, the little tunnel. And I sat there on my own, freezing. There was still snow at the back of the goal. You know, this was the first home game for 3 months.
Yeah.
And they played Portsmouth, and they beat them 2-0. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. You know.
Is that where you were kind of hooked straight away?
And I thought, and because they'd had so many games postponed, I got to see about 10 games that season. And the season was actually extended into sort of middle of May. You know,
Right.
So they were like playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. You know,
Yeah.
and get all the games in. So I thought, it's like Christmas come early, really. Yeah.
So
And that was it. And but I was always one for keeping records, so I started cutting out the newspaper reports.
Yeah.
And now I've got every report, you know, since for the last 40 years of every game.
And that inspired you to, because
Yeah.
you wrote a book as well about. the
Yeah,
entire
well, I'd always
history.
had that intention, sort of mid-80s, that I would do something eventually. There was a guy called Tony Thwaites that a lot of people will be familiar with the name, and he wrote a book, and I'd kind of got involved with Halifax Town in 1981, writing in the programme.
Oh, okay.
It got me going to the courier office to research. I got in there, and I was doing all these past matches, and so that's how I got involved, and I just loved it, and all these names that were coming out on the old newspapers, Donald Duckett and Ernest Dixon, you know, and it's just sort of spiraled from there. And then I got a job working in libraries, and I had access to all the microfilms. So
Oh wow!
I just
So you
started to research.
archive
Yeah, I
footage
went
and
through every Halifax Courier from 1911 all the way through.
Oh wow! Okay.
Not in one day.
No, you must have taken a bit of a long time.
Not in one day. It took me years, but my intention was always to get a book out, and then I contacted. It was Derby Publishing, because they did a series of books on, you know, Man United, Liverpool, you know,
And now
Arsenal.
Halifax. Now
And
we've got Halifax.
well,
in there, yeah.
Halifax being that market, you know. So, and that was intended to come out for the 100th anniversary of the birth of the club, which was 2011. Yeah.
So you've kind of supported the club,
Yeah.
or followed the club longer than us put together, I presume.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
No.
but
when did you start coming down?
I started personally. I came down in January 2019, so I'm
Right.
kind of new, but I always knew about Halifax.
Right. Yeah.
But I suppose, what's been your best kind of season that you followed? Off air, you said that this would have been an easy question.
Yeah, well,
so-
it was for me, because you've got to put it all into context. People were going about the 97-98 season when we won the conference,
Yeah.
and that was a fantastic. That would be the best team I ever saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so exciting. The wing backs and Mark Bradshaw, Andy Thackeray sort of raiding down the flanks, and little Jamie Patterson in there. And you know, that it was a fantastic season, and everything came together, and getting the stands built and everything. But for me, as a 15-year-old, and my first full season, so I started coming in March '79, so we're into the following season, and we three key players we signed in Dave Evans, who became captain, Paul Hendry, centre half Dave Harris, and all of a sudden we're fifth in the league in October. George Kirby's the manager, gets manager of the month. We get into December. We've got an FA. We beat Scarborough in the FA Cup. Then we get Walsall. We draw with them down there. Replay at the Shay, 1-1 after extra time, and then they've got to replay. Yeah, you know, because none of this penalty kicks in those days.
Oh, right.
You know, no, there's replay after replay after replay till it's all decided. And we won the on the toss of a coin the choice of venue. So the manager would play at the Shay. Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, it was a Monday, 2 o'clock
wow.
kick-off, freezing cold. You know,
Well,
I don't
that's
think the game
different
would
to
have been
yours,
played
isn't it,
today.
Tuesday?
And that we beat them 2-0 in extra time, knowing that we're going to play Manchester City.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The draw had already been made.
Yeah.
So you're going home on Christmas Eve, having got to the third round of the FA Cup. You've got all your presents on Christmas Day. Boxing Day, you've got Huddersfield Town, who were top of the 4th Division, scoring goals for fun. They came down here, throwing it down, beat them 2-1. You know, and then you know you've got Man City to come, and you beat them 1-0. So for me, the answer to your question was
That is,
79-80.
What a run.
And I was
Christmas,
15,
Yeah.
16, yeah, Christmas Eve, yeah. There were about 6,000 turned up for it as well.
As if there was a game on that day, though. That
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen now, surely. It would have been.
Well,
a
it wouldn't
Boxing
happen then because the pitch was frozen. They
Oh,
had
right,
to get
so
the
it
game
had to
in,
Yeah.
you know. And but it was just a fantastic season. It tailed off a little bit towards the end after being knocked out of the cup by Bolton,
But that just
memories there, and the players because you're only 15, 16. All the players are like, you idolise them really.
Yeah.
that does tie actually into the next question in terms of we've got a big 40 celebration.
Yeah.
So obviously you
Didn't
kind of
know
want to
about
plug
that.
this as well. So
Well-
in terms of the best ever result, it was
Well,
Man City,
for me,
wasn't
and
it?
I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
it was the most famous victory the club ever pulled off, beating Manchester City. They were a first division team, and they'd spent millions to put their team together. Malcolm Allison was their charismatic manager, who'd been about a bit. He was involved with Manchester City back in the late 60s, early 70s when they had all the success. But he'd left and then came back, and we drew them. He got rid of a lot of big names and replaced them with teenagers. But even so, they were a massive name. And
Right.
there were 12,599 were here, and it was a 2 o'clock kickoff because the Yorkshire Television came down, and our floodlights weren't strong enough for their cameras,
Right.
so we had to play at 2 o'clock. And it was just
Just to take it all the daylight.
well, I don't know if you know the full story behind the game, but we'd had snow the week before, and then it all thawed around about Thursday.
Right.
So come Friday, the referee's looking at the pitch and he says, you've got to work on this pitch to get all the water off it.
Yeah.
And apparently if you chat with Norman Southernwood, the groundsman, he's back at the Shay now, and he was there then. He said they were there from 6:30 in the morning on the Saturday morning just to try and drain the pitch, just to get it on. They wouldn't have played it today.
No.
Oh, really?
No way. And and it was just a great level with all the mud. You talk about Shay in the mud, that's what it was.
Yeah.
In fact, I showed Louise the footage of the game.
Oh, the archive footage. and
Yeah,
stuff. Oh,
have,
right,
have you
okay.
seen it?
I haven't yet, but I
yeah.
definitely will do.
And she says, "What the hell was that?" Because Shay didn't, apart from the skirt shed, everything else has changed,
Yeah.
and it's just like a different era, different world.
Yeah.
But with like you mentioned Speedway track earlier, that was there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to tie into next.
Yeah.
So the Shay is very different.
Yeah.
So what it is now.
Yeah.
We were also talking about is there like a tunnel there or a railway tunnel?
Yeah, there wouldn't have been a good yard back in just the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Or late 1890s, I think, and they actually built the tunnel. The tunnel's still there.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
it's
still there.
a bit of a
Yeah,
secret.
well, I think it's fenced off. But I know back in the 70s, a lot of kids used to,
Go down
nip
there.
through and get into the Shay for free.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah, and I think the railway company ran out of money, so that's why it all got abandoned. But they built a tunnel, and I think during the Second World War it was used as an air raid warden.
Oh, wow, okay.
Or air raid shelter. Yeah.
Right.
There's quite a few secrets then in the Shay.
Oh
but
yeah. I've never been in it. I'd love to go in it, but like I say,
Health and
it's
safety
all,
and
it's
all
all
that.
fenced off now.
Yeah.
But
Well, I suppose it is called the Shay, and
Yeah.
we're called the Shaymen. So
Yeah.
our nickname is obviously the Shaymen.
Yeah.
But where does that, what does the Shay mean then? I mean, how did that nickname
It
come
mean-
about?
Shay is comes from shaw or thicket, I believe.
Okay.
Well, actually, I looked into it, so
All
I
right.
do know it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it used to be a lot of wooded area in that
Yeah.
that part
Down
of
where
Halifax,
we were. Yeah.
and there used to be a mansion
Yeah.
Okay.
tucked away in that area, around about where top of Unger Hill, just where the car park is, at the top
Oh,
of
yeah,
Unger
yeah.
Hill,
I know.
round about there. I think that's where it stood. So that Shaw used to be Shaw Hill, and Shay kind of derived from that, I suppose. Not sure when, but it was certainly called the Shay Mansion back in the 17th century.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're named after a kind of a mansion then, is
Well,
it?
it was
A
named
tower?
after Shaw. Well, I think that the house was named after
the
the
kind
area,
of wooded
the
area.
Shay,
Yeah.
the Shaw.
Ah, okay.
So just derived from that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite interesting to be
Yeah.
fair. But
and regarding the nickname Shaymen, well, I went through all the papers, and I'd read all these reports, and all of a sudden I saw it, the Shay men, as in not in Shay men, it's Shay, 2 words. It was like,
oh, right.
like the men from the Shay, and that has just kind of become one word, and Shaymen over the
and that was in the local newspaper.
Yeah,
that's how it kind of.
they used to have the green finals, which you won't know any of this, will you?
But that's why you're here.
Green
That's
finals
were
they used to come out about games would finish about 20 to 5, and by 5:15, the green finals were being sold on the steps of Lloyd's Bank and other places in town.
Oh wow!
Up until 1973.
Oh wow! Okay.
You know, and I think the reporters used to get on the phone and just relay it back to the office. You know, we've had first 20 minutes. This is what's happened, and I think that's how it used to work.
It's a bit different.
And then
now.
they all reel it off, and then now these little blocks where they used to, put everything, piece all the words together, and then get it all printed out, and then it's a lot different to
Twitter and they get it straight on the Twitter feed.
Twitter, that's what birds do, isn't it?
No, absolutely. We also asked you to kind of make an all-star five-a-side team, and
I did. I mean, it's realms of fantasy, really, but I did have I think about it. So if you want me to go with it, well, the best goalkeeper I ever saw, it's got to base it on players that I saw.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Sure.
The best goalie we ever had, and I know he had a bad time at Man United, but it was Paddy Roach. And he was a bit of became a bit of an icon because after he finished playing, he ended up running a tuck shop in the Skirkert Shed.
Oh, really?
He was involved with the football in the community, which Jim McCalliogood had started, and he took it on in the early 90s. And I think that the tuck shop was kind of connected to that to raise money for the football in the community scheme that they got going. But he was a good goalie.
Would you not? I mean, would you not argue that Sam Johnson,
our
current keeper, because he is
obviously he'd be
he has the most clean sheets and he is currently writing the history books, so to speak, isn't it? With the most
see what he did there.
Yeah. So, but would you say that he would? Because I had some.
He'd be on the bench. He'd be on the bench. Yeah, he was my second choice. I've got to say, he was my second choice. I'm trying to think of the goalkeepers we've had, and we've had some good ones over the years. Sam Johnson is up there, but for me, Paddy Roach was, the best I ever saw it, and he was there for 5 years.
Yeah, fair enough. And then, would you play now, Jack? You wanted 4 forwards in your kind of five-a-side line.
Yeah, I'd have just gone 4 strikers.
4 strikers. But
who would you have?
Oh well,
Vardy.
Well, for me, not being around the Halifax scene for a while, so it'd be Vardy, Gregory, Hogan, and another Devante Rodney maybe. I liked him last season.
That one. But who would you have then?
Well, I played a lot of five-a-side, so I kind of structure my team. So you want a goal scorer and you want a stopper and you want 2 players that can create. So for me, Jamie Patterson to be in there, little wee man, weaving about. And my all-time favourite player, who wasn't too dissimilar to Jamie, was a guy called Kevin Johnson.
Okay.
Who, when I first started coming down, he was head and shoulders above everybody else in the team. Great left foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to be in there. And then you're looking for somebody to get your goals. So, I've toyed with, somebody like Bobby Davison, Jeff Horsfield, and I thought, well, he's 6 foot odd. If you play in the head-height rule, you don't score many headers in five-a-side.
Oh, you want to go with the head-height rule?
So, well, I don't know. But anyway, I've actually plumped for Steve Norris because he bagged 33 goals. Over 30 goals in one season for Halifax Town when they were bottom of the old 4th division.
Right.
He scored more than half the team's goals in that season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else was scoring them. he was out on his own when he. And we started that season. We didn't score any goals in the first 8 games, and then we signed Steve Norris, and he couldn't stop scoring. So he'd be my man up front, and then you're looking at somebody to sit at the back.
Yeah.
And there used to be a famous shout: "You'll never beat Craig Boardman. You'll never beat Craig Boardman." Centre half.
Yeah.
And I think I'd stick him there.
Yeah.
So controversial, because there's lots of big names I've missed out, but but that'd be my team, I suppose.
Yeah.
What about? We did ask the fans as well on Twitter. Right. We have Adam Proberts who said Brian Kilcline at centre back. Would you go him?
Too slow.
Too slow. There you go.
To be honest, he made mine just because he frightened the life out of me.
Yeah.
And then Chris Nichol. This is from Paul Ferguson. Chris Nichol and
Chris, before my time, but he was a centre back. Yeah, teenager. I think we signed him. Or it might have been early 20s. Rejected by Burnley, went to Witton, and then Halifax Town signed him. Alan Ball, and wherever he went, teams got promoted immediately. We should get him back.
Yeah, should bring him.
Yeah, because he got promoted with us in '69, and then we went to Luton, and they went up the following year. Then he went to Aston Villa, and they went up, I think, twice. I think they went up twice in different divisions, and then he went to Southampton, and they went up. Yeah, played in the World Cup for Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Let's get him
So
back.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, get him back.
So if you would bring back a player back to Halifax Town in their prime and put them in our squad, even though we are top of the league at the moment, who would you bring back?
Oh. I won't prepare for that one. Honestly, I'd love to see Kevin Johnson again.
Kevin Johnson?
Yeah. I'll tell you for why, because back in the 78-79 season, like I said, he was head and shoulders above everybody else in the team. The following September, he broke his leg. He came back, but he's never the same player.
Yeah.
But he really was a magician with that ball. You know, I'd love to see him. I was sick when he went to Hartlepool. We swapped him for a guy called Billy Eyre, who became manager down here. But I'd have loved to seen him. You know, Kevin Keegan gives him a shout out sometimes. You know, because they were at Doncaster Schoolboys together.
Oh wow!
Back in the '60s. Yeah, and Kevin Johnson was a year younger than Keegan, but he kept him out of the team.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Kevin Johnson went to Sheffield Wednesday, who were in the first division at the time, and Kevin Keegan went to Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
And the careers just kind of passed. You know, ended up at Halifax and Hartlepool, and Kevin Keegan's Liverpool and England captain, and Hamburg.
Yeah.
Southampton, Newcastle.
Became
an icon. Don't need quite a lot for himself, really.
The talent must have been brilliant though from the guy in question to keep Keegan out at such an early age.
Yeah, and Kevin Keegan said he had everything. You know, ended up playing for Huddersfield and Southend and Hartlepool. You know, all these little low clubs, and Keegan's making his way up.
Yeah.
I think he went into a big pool. It was a small fish in a big pool.
Yeah.
And Kevin Keegan was perhaps a bigger fish in a small pool, and made his name that way. You see, it works for some players.
Yeah,
you know,
it does.
I suppose Jeff Horsfield.
Well, as soon as you said Jeff Horsfield, Tom's face lit up on that one.
Yeah, a good guy with Jeff.
Yeah, well, he made my five-a-side team.
Did he?
Yeah, because I'm a Fulham fan now, as we spoke about on the first episode, and he's the reason. Yeah, I came down that 97-98 season.
It was incredible that, because the season before he couldn't get in the team. We had a guy called Mick Norbury,
right?
And we needed really to win on the last day of the season. And Mick Norbury got a hat-trick. And George Mulhall had come in with Kieran O'Regan. John Carroll had been sacked around about February time, and told, keep it in the league. The job's yours, you see. But it went to the last game where we were looking over the shoulders at, I think, was it Bath, where to sort of match their result.
Right.
And they were winning, and we were sort of hanging on to a 3-2 lead against Stevenage. And if they'd have equalised, we'd have got relegated. And then Jeff Horsfield had come off the bench and scored the fourth goal. And then in the summer, George Mulhall sold Mick Norbury.
Right.
Because he knew what was there, Jeff Horsfield.
Yeah.
And I think the first game of the season, he come off the building site. He joined the lads from the building site because he was a hoodie.
Yeah.
Odd carrier.
Yeah.
And and then that was, George Mulhall knew.
Yeah.
And you can't knock his decision.
Yeah. No, that is one of my big memories of Halifax Town. That season with Jeff, James Patterson,
Kieran, Paul Stoneman. He's another one that could have got in my five-a-side team because he was quite fast.
But it all started with that man you mentioned, Tony Thwaites.
Tony.
My dad knew him quite well.
He was Mr. Halifax Town. He kept the club going, and the things he used to do for him.
Yeah.
He was all hands on.
Yeah.
And had a porky little office at top of Orton Street.
Yeah.
The building's still there. I think it's an hairdresser's now, or a barber's.
Yes,
you know which one I mean?
Yeah, because it was Sportsmill's shop that he opened up there as well,
that was
wasn't
at
it?
King Cross. He had one at King Cross, then he got one in town.
Yeah.
But when I first started getting involved, that's where he was, just in this little porky,
Yeah. No, he was a lovely gentleman.
Would you not be tempted, back to put Jamie Vardy in and around? Would he be on the bench?
Oh, I suppose Jamie Vardy being there.
He's done all right, hasn't he?
He has done all right. The thing is with Jamie Vardy, and Halifax Town only ever produced one player that went on to win a league championship medal, and that was a guy called Ernie Coleman. They used to call him Tim Coleman, and he ended up playing for Arsenal, I think about 1933.
Wow.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he won the League Championship medal. And no Halifax Town player ever did that. We had Alan Waddle that went to Liverpool, but he never qualified for a medal because he didn't play enough games.
Right.
And the only other person that's done it since then is Jamie Vardy.
When Vardy was playing at the Shay, did you ever think that he could go on to such levels? Or
No.
No.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
You know. And then when we'd heard he gone to Fleetwood, I thought, well, it didn't surprise us, but...
yeah. Not to get a Premier League.
I always thought the story that has been told about him was that he used to get the Sunday papers, the sports paper on a Sunday, and he used to see that Jamie Vardy was scoring all these goals for Stocksbridge.
Yeah.
So he went to watch him in midweek, and he was never in the team. Because everybody knows the story. I mean, he was tagged, wasn't he? And I think he was under curfew, and he had to be back home by a certain time, so he couldn't play evening games. So Neil asked me to go to watch him, and he's never there.
Yeah.
And then he bang hat-trick the following Saturday. I think, well, he won't play on Tuesday. But he was a great player for I was just looking at. I was writing some programme notes, and we had Jamie Vardy, Lee Gregory, and James Dean, all in the same team. What a strike force that would be.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need any defenders in that.
That'd be my formation, yeah.
I was just going to ask as well.
Yeah.
So we're going back to 1911.
All right, I wasn't there then.
No,
yeah.
Well,
I know one or two that were.
No, but you know how I've read the book.
Yeah.
And you know how the club kind of formed.
Yeah.
In short, can you tell us that how it was formed at the Saddle Hotel, I believe? And
yeah, they had a public meeting there. I think Huddersfield Town had been formed in I think was it 1908, and Leeds City as they were going, and Bradford had two clubs in Bradford City and Park Avenue, and it was noticeable that a lot of supporters were going out of town to watch this football. So people were saying, well, why can't we create our own team? And so this guy called I think Ernest Jones wrote to the Courier and says, "Is Halifax ripe for soccer?" was the headline, and then the letter, and that went in the paper, and they called for a meeting at the Saddle Hotel on the 23rd of May 1911, and that's how it all started.
Amazing.
They called for people to buy shares,
Yeah.
to raise some capital, and that was it. They were away, and then they got elected to the Yorkshire Combination. Led it at one point at Christmas time, and then fell away a little bit. Yeah.
And was the first the first ground wouldn't be in the Shay?
The first ground was up at High Road Well.
Right.
Sandall Lane.
Oh yeah.
The Asquiths eventually built in it, and there's a firm on there now. I'm not sure what it's called now, but it's just as you Sandall Lane, High Road Well, just in there. And they played there until the First World War, and then they closed the club down because all the players were serving with the forces in the First World War. And then when they reformed, they played at Exley.
Okay.
And there's if you know Park Lane, Exley Gardens, some old council houses on there, and that's where the pitch was.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
so ankle deep in clay. Apparently. Not from personal experience, but just what I read. So it's dreadful. And then they had the chance to they formed the Third Division South, as it was, in 1920, and they decided to form the Third Division North. So that's when they thought, well, if we get a ground ready, and that's why they started working on this year.
Right.
So was it the Halifax the club that had the Shay kind of where they
I
wanted to go?
I think the corporation owned the Shay. They knocked down the mansion, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And Halifax Town took up a lease and got it ready.
Yeah.
All hands to the all hands on deck kind of thing.
And what was the first game then at the Shay?
The first was Darlington.
Oh wow, okay.
In that first season, they used to play home and away fixtures immediately. So the first game was at Darlington.
Okay.
And they lost 2-0, and they played them the following Saturday down here and beat them 5-1.
Right.
That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. So so you wouldn't see Darlington unless you got them in the cup until the following year. It was all.
Yeah,
whereas now it's kind of, you play your first game, you play them again sort of mid-season.
Yeah.
No, it was like back-to-back fixtures in those days.
Right.
Yeah. Bizarre, isn't it?
So if you had a bit of a feud, it'd be live for next week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Yeah.
So, from an outsider's perspective then, what's kind of one key fact about Halifax Town that's you'd like to share at all? Something that's kind of resonated with you, being from a supporters.
Well, I got involved with the club sort of in the mid-80s. I got involved with the supporters club, and I used to do a car wash, and I used to. There used to be a club called the Weavers. I knew it was the sporting club, and I used to work on the door, for visiting supporters. But I got to know a lot of the people that worked there, and it was really homely club back in those days. Never had any money, but really homely club. And I once got chatting with a referee called George Courtney, and he said, "I love coming to a place like Halifax because he said look after you so well, plate of sandwiches, cups of tea." And that's the one thing that everybody loved Halifax, because they were never a threat to anybody. I was saying to you earlier, never a threat to anybody, because they're never competing for things.
Yeah.
But everybody, and they were always kind of local to everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of sympathised with them. And I think it was a nice little club.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I've always. I suppose a lot of people say we want to be bigger than that, but for me, when I was supporting them in the 80s, they were just nice, homely little club.
Yeah.
So
everybody knew each other.
Oh, so it was a kind of a close-knit kind of community.
Yeah. Was it the Weavers that was then turned where the players went after the games?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I vaguely.
Yeah, I mean that's my sort of round about Chris Wilder era was. I go for a drink in the Weavers before a game, watch the game, then go for a couple of drinks in there, and all the players used to come in.
Yeah.
Could mix with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
it's not quite the same now.
One of my very first memories of the Shay, yeah.
Yeah. And Chris Wilder, a great manager.
Yeah.
He always said, "Give me a level playing field, I'll show you what I can do." And wherever he's gone, he's had success. Yeah. I mean, he took us to a playoff final. We were 10 minutes from getting back in the Football League.
Well, just look at him at Sheffield United. He's doing really well with them. But before you came, we had a bit of a debate on which one would you take, from a supporter's perspective. Would you take the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Or would you take promotion to the?
You mean winning the FA Cup?
Winning the FA Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
Or would you take promotion?
Yeah.
Straight away.
I mean, people always ask me about the FA Trophy. What would you rather do? Stop up and not get relegated, or win the FA Trophy? So win the FA Trophy, because you can always fight back in the league.
Yeah. So so you wouldn't go to League Two. You'd prefer to win the FA Cup and go through the Europa.
One-off day. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, that's just give you a special day.
Yeah.
And then win league the following year.
There's always that as well.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And then, last question from me is in terms of, you were on a song as well, weren't you, down at Wembley?
Well, yeah, only because...
Go on, give us a shout out for that, because
my mate Spud sang on that. Excuse me, and he rang me. He said, "How do you pronounce your second name?" I said, "It's Meynell." He says, "That's good. That's what I wanted to hear. It rhymes with hotel, So look at somebody else's name rhymes with hotel. So I think that's why it's in there. But Jack Amer's name's in there as well, and deservedly so, because he did a lot of work for Halifax Town over the years. Yeah. So that's why I think it's in there. Not because I'm bigger or better than any other town fan, because I'm not. But they know that I was the historian and I'd written all the books on the club. But it rhymed with hotel, and I think that's what sealed the deal. I didn't know anything about it, until he rang me.
Oh, so
I didn't know I was writing a song, and he just said, "I've recorded a song tonight for Wembley, and just want to know how you pronounce your second name, because they just got rid of something else, like Johnny or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was it. So I was quite chuffed, and when I heard it at Wembley, I was there with my daughter, and she goes, "Oh, Dad." Well, yeah.
Do you still listen to it now?
No.
Were it any
no,
good?
but I know you use it as your theme tune, don't you? You just missed out. Yeah, you just missed out the main bit. Yeah. Yeah.
No, brilliant. It's so that must have been a great day as well, going down to Wembley and in the.
Well, I used to follow Halifax Town with my mate Pete, who died 7 years ago, and he'd have loved to see Halifax Town at Wembley, and so of course he never got a chance. But I thought of him that day, and then I honestly didn't expect us to win, because we'd been tanked by Grimsby earlier in the season. It was something like 7-0 in the league, I think. Yeah, and they'd reached the playoff final as well, hadn't they? I think they were there nearly every week at one point at Wembley.
Right.
And I honestly thought, Had they just gone up? I don't think.
I think that was season they went up.
Yeah, and anyway, I didn't expect us to win, but I thought, well, just to be there, just And then when Scott McManus curled that in, I thought, suddenly you think. I felt sorry for him because he had to come off later on, didn't he? He got injured.
I believe,
and he's ended up walking around on crutches. But
I was down in Australia. I say sadly, it was what an experience.
All right,
but I like that year. I was thinking, we've got the Euros. Halifax have got to Wembley. I'd love to have gone, but
and then winning the cup. There's not many teams that get to do that.
No. And it's.
But we've done it, and we were there.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to think we can get there again. Because the FA Trophy never drummed up, never got a lot of support until the later rounds. People said, "Oh, let's get out of this," and all of a sudden you're in the quarter-finals, and you think, "Well, you get to the semis, and it's up for grabs, then, isn't it?"
Yeah. Well, there's that mentality as well about the West Riding Cup, isn't there?
That's the big one. That's the big one.
But I mean,
it's about time we won that again. Tell Pete Wild.
Well, I'll probably be listening.
That's my views on it. Like, if you want to breed a winning mentality, it doesn't matter what competition you're in. You blood a few of your youngsters.
We beat Brackley in the playoff final in 2013.
Yeah.
To get back into the conference or national league, and then I think on the following Tuesday we played. I don't know, was it Guiseley in the West Riding County Cup final?
Yeah.
Gareth Seddon scored the only goal.
Right.
As somebody pointed out, every time we play, we win a trophy. Which was true. Yeah.
No.
Went one woman since though.
So
you can put that right this season.
Well, that does tie into this season. How do you reckon we're top of the league? We are playing Bromley this Saturday in a top of the table.
Yeah,
clash.
it is a top of the table clash. Yeah.
So we are going down to London Town. The little quote there from the song. But how do you reckon we're doing this season?
Well, I think we're a couple of players light, to be honest. In my honest opinion. Some of the stuff they were playing earlier on the season. And I saw Pete Wild, and I said, I've never known an atmosphere like this for about 20 years.
Yeah.
I think we're just beating Solihull.
Okay,
yeah. And, we were right up there, and I says, it's been a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
I just, long may it continue. And then since then, it's kind of,
Yeah, there's a nervous energy about the ground at the moment. Isn't
but I think, because they're not expected to, I wouldn't have thought they'd be expected to win at Bromley. Because Bromley's obviously challenging as well, so I think Town can go there and just get stuck into them.
Yeah.
Get a draw. Who knows? I don't expect them to lose necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think they've got to address things at home and start.
Yeah.
Putting teams to bed up at home.
Yeah. So that nervous energy then, because Pete Wild has mentioned that as well.
But I'm sure other teams are feeling the same as well.
Where's that kind of come from then? Because it seems to be like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think if we don't bag a goal and the crowd get a bit anxious and and I think it might filter through at the players. It's always been the same.
Yeah. Do you think it could be the fact that we're shooting towards no one in the first half? If we had.
Mind that they've always done that, Halifax. They've always done that. They've always played towards the south stand in the second half.
Right. So it's something
it's not like stuck in the ball in kind of thing. Because it often gets remarked that if we lose the toss and the team decide to play,
switches round or anything.
So so we're playing to no one in the second half.
Yeah,
it's not quite the same, is it? But generally, you used to try and get it so that we play toward the south stand in the second half.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
Jack, do you have any? I know you prepared.
Yeah, it's strange one.
Strange.
Why is the mascot a fox? I've often wondered this.
It was sort of mid-90s that they saw a fox on this year running across the pitch, not during the game.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Right.
And they decided, we'll adopt a fox as a. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Where did the name come from, Freddie? Then.
Freddie.
Well, it just goes.
I don't know, but there used to be a goalkeeper called Fred Fox that played for Halifax Town.
No way.
Well, that is just a coincidence.
Right.
Yeah. As is the fact that we had another captain called Oliver Thompson.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
1933. You check it out. Oliver Thompson. And we reached the 5th round of the FA Cup.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we played here against Luton in a blizzard.
Another cold
yeah,
conditions then as well.
Yeah.
He made a bad decision which cost him the game.
Oh, that's
That's not you.
Yeah, Oliver Thompson, look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say, if apart from the McManus goal recently, if you were to choose one goal, your favourite goal, be it past, present, whatever, what would be your favourite goal?
Paul Hendry. It's Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
were you stood for that?
Oh, well, you know where the East Stand is?
Mm-hmm.
If you come out of the tunnel and go to your right,
Yeah.
it was a little small stand, small stand. And,
Yeah.
and I used to stand just past that
Right.
on all the gravel and the mud.
Yeah.
and
And was
the
it at
weeds.
your side then, or was it at the
It
south
was,
side?
it was at the south stand end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I used to get into games because there was hardly anybody there in those days. Just over 1,000, you could pick your spot
Yeah.
around the barrier with the speedway track. And when I got there, I went with my dad that game, and we got there a bit. We didn't leave home at 1:30 for a 2:00 kick-off. Nowhere to park, obviously.
Yeah.
So by the time we got there, it's like 3-4 deep. So I'm like stood on a mound
Wow.
trying to, I couldn't
Yeah.
get to my favourite spot. Yeah, but I remember the goal going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking of
Yeah.
grounds though, do you prefer those memories you've got with the old speedway
Yeah.
track round,
Yeah.
or would you prefer going to the games
No,
every
I preferred
week
it
in
then.
the modern
I
shape?
preferred them because the Shay was our spiritual home, and that's how I remember it. And I said to Louisa, I says, well, at least it had character. Because I think all these football grounds today, they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Clubs like West Ham and Southampton, they're really, really close to the pitch in the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dell.
The Dell
was-
and Upton Park.
Yeah.
And I don't know if legislation now where they've got to be so far from the
Right.
touchlines, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Or West Ham
they
with
all,
athletics.
every ground seems the same these days.
Yeah.
But the Shay was unique with the speedway track and everything.
Although we were quite close at Maidenhead, they had a really close. Did you go down to that? game
No, I've
at
never
all?
been to Maidenhead.
Oh, you've
No.
never been down that
No.
one then. All right,
No.
fair
I've
enough.
been-
Then
I've
that's
been-
answered that one.
I've been to Torquay and I've been to Exeter
Yeah.
and I've been to Hartlepool. That was an experience.
Can I ask what's your favourite away ground to visit, and what's the worst you've been to?
Well, I don't know. Rochdale back in the early 80s was a bit. They used to have old railway sleepers making up the terracing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then they developed the stand like we have done. But
Yeah.
and Hartlepool was right on the main road. You just pulled up and there you were. You just get off the bus into the ground. Yeah. Best ground, don't know. It's hard to say really.
Yeah. What about Notts County's ground then? 'Cause obviously
Well,
that's-
I went for Tony Flower's funeral, but I'd never actually been to a game there.
Right.
Tony Flower was a player that died. He played in '69, team that won promotion, and he died in January. But I've never actually been. I didn't go to the game this season down there.
Yeah.
But
No.
looks all right. But like I said,
It's
they're all
nice.
pretty much the same, aren't they?
I like you say, it's those older grounds, isn't it? Like
Characterful.
I'm gonna bring my team back up, but
Yeah.
we've got the cottage in the corner.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
unique.
little things like that. I keep looking at Everton's ground because there's a church in the one corner.
Yeah.
You can't see it now. I don't think. Cause
I don't think.
well, I'm sure the church is still there.
Yeah, but again,
Was it the Gladys Street end?
I'm
I
not
think it's the
sure.
only ground in the country
Yeah.
with something like that.
And I always like to see, something that harks back to the past that's always been there.
Yeah,
But
but again, they're going to like another new stadium, aren't they?
what Fulham?
No,
Oh, Everton.
Yeah,
Everton.
Yeah.
so that's another one
Yeah.
that it's gone.
Yeah. Not in favour of them myself, but there you go. That's
But yeah,
that's football. Nothing I can do about it.
yeah, the modern
As
game.
long as we don't leave the share because
Yeah,
that's our home, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we're almost finished, but in terms of the Big 40,
Yeah.
now it's an exciting event.
Yeah.
We're celebrating the
Yeah.
biggest ever victory, as
Yeah.
you've just said. Who's attending then? Because you know a bit
Well,
more about the event.
I could run through the team. I could name the team like reeling off the alphabet. But the players, we've lost 3 of the players. We lost Bob
Okay.
Mountford, who was number 9 that day. He died in 2008. We lost Franny Firth in May of last year. He was a right winger. And then we lost Mick Kennedy in February. He was only 57. But the rest of the team, apart from Chris Dunleavy, because he's in Australia, I just can't get in touch with him. But John Kilner's coming, the goalkeeper.
yeah,
Jeff Hutt said he'd be honoured to be there.
lovely.
Dave Evans was a captain. He's coming. I spoke with him. Dave Harris his son, I've been in touch with his son, he lives in Devon. He says, I'll make sure he's there. I'll make sure he's there. And then Paul Andrew scored the goal, he's coming.
Nice.
And then you've got John Smith who laid on the goal. He's coming. He lives in Preston. Andy Stafford, who delivered the cross from which John Smith sent the ball to.
Yeah.
He's coming. Malcolm Goodman was on the bench, didn't get on, but he's coming.
Yeah.
Vernon Allett was part of the squad.
Right.
He's coming. Mickey Bullock was assistant manager, and he's coming. And also we've invited the wife of Franny Firth.
Yeah.
Kim, she's coming, and Norman Southernwood, the groundsman, because he was pivotal to getting the game on. He's coming. So anybody that was really involved in that, you know, they're all coming. All the big names are there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's
so hopefully, I mean, from people from that era,
yeah,
you know, now's your chance to see, because it'll probably be a once in a lifetime event.
Yeah.
You know, I would imagine getting all these guys back together.
Yeah, well, it's something that like the younger fans won't really know much about.
No.
So it'd be.
I'm hoping that there's people out there that were like me when I was 15, 16. I thought, oh, I'm going to look into the history of the club.
Yeah.
That might latch onto this and think, well, I want to know more about it.
It'd be a great eye opener.
I think Dave Foy's actually doing Shaman Stats. Reveal his identity. Doing a great job.
To younger fans, though, that must be brilliant because they've grown up in an era where Manchester City have been just amazing.
Yeah.
Since all the money's come in, so they'll be going thinking we beat them.
Yeah.
Because in their heads, Man City have always been that good.
Yeah,
so for younger fans to think that the team from their hometown was once competing and beating sides like that,
and they were top flight then. To be fair,
yeah.
And they'd finished runners up in the league in '77, I think.
Right.
Which was only just over 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Malcolm Allison decided to off guard all the old players and you know, replace them with teenagers. But yeah, they're a big club. Couple of internationals. Joe Corrigan to play for England a few times.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop Paul Hendry though.
Good.
Yeah.
Good point.
In fact, we're thinking of inviting Joe Corrigan just see if he can talk us through where he went wrong. Maybe it's not a good idea.
No, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for shedding a bit
pleasure.
of light on
Halifax
Town.
I'm sorry I'm not a player because I know people you want to hear players, but you know, I think it's great that you get people from all different sides of FC Halifax Town.
I think isn't because like I said,
it's not just players, is it? There are other people involved that help make it work.
Well, there's support. You know, there's loads of people that our supporter of the week, Laura Eccles, who supported for 80 odd years.
Yeah,
and I love these kind of little stories.
I love talking to people like that with all their memories and ex-players.
Exactly.
You know, what was it like, and you know.
Well, it's a completely different era, isn't it? Like
exactly.
A lot of people live their lives through. I can't really speak filming every day, but a lot of people live their lives through the phones at the moment, and like the memories aren't as great as what
When Halifax Town had played an away match, say on a Tuesday, you didn't know who scored the goal until you got your paper, the evening courier or the morning paper the following day.
Yeah,
you had to wait like 12 hours to find out who actually scored the goal.
Yeah,
in your 5-1 defeat. But it was important.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, but as always, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah.
And Halifax are in action against Bromley at 3 o'clock at the Westminster Waste Stadium. That should be a mouthful. Yep. And
well done. Well navigated.
And the SHAYCAST is also back on Thursday with Josh Staunton, so stay tuned for that. So as always, thank you very much,
it's been
Tom,
a pleasure.
and Jack as well.
Thank you.
And up the Shaman.
Yes, come on, the Shaman.